Grab your bags as we have two concerts to attend to, as Hello Happy World as well as Raise the Sun got revealed for the Bang Dream title booster.
Stand up! Vanguard!
Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another extra edition of Cardfight Update, and today we've got a jam-packed episode as we don't have one new band revealed for Bang Dream, we got two different bands revealed. So that means we have a lot of cards to go over and a lot of skills to analyze. So without further ado, let's jump right into the first band for Bang Dream, and we're gonna kick it off with Hello Happy World. So a new band means a new ride chain, and that also means a new generic starter, and for them that is World Start Kokoro Tsurumaki. And it's just a generic starter, so there's not a lot to talk about for this card. Then for the grade 1 version of the ride chain, we have Loving Everybody Kokoro Tsurumaki, and her ability is Auto Vanguard the Rigor Circle. When it attacks or the attack it boosts hit, you may look at two cards from the top of your deck. If you looked at, reveal up to one Hello Happy World from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So on attack or on boost, a potential +1 for free. This is a really good grade 1 that can give you a lot of value over the course of a game if you can keep abusing her on hit effect. So this is actually a pretty good card. Then for the grade 2 of the ride chain, we have Smiling Hurricane Kokoro Tsurumaki, and her ability is Auto Vanguard the Rigor Circle. When placed, look at the 7 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to one grade 3 card with Kokoro Tsurumaki in its card name from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So this is a potential grade 3 searcher. It's less consistent as the other grade 2s that can search in top 7, as this can only search for the grade 3 and some can just search for generic cards within their band. But it's a nice thing to have to be able to fix your right chain, and top 7 is a high chance of actually hitting the grade 3. But she also has a second ability, which is Auto Rigor Circle. When placed, you may call a card from your hand to the Rigor Circle. So when you call her, you can immediately call a potential second card. This might sound weird, but as you're gonna see with the other cards and you're starting to understand what this band is trying to do, then this skill absolutely makes sense and is very powerful. So with that explained, let's take a look at the other band members before we go into the grade 3 and the order cards. And we're going to start off with the grade 2s, and the first one is Bursting Smile Hagumi Kitazawa, and her ability is Auto Rigor Circle. When placed, this unit gets power plus 10k until the end of turn. So this is basically a 20k attacker. There's nothing really special about this, but it's a nice solid beater, and as you're gonna see with the other cards, this can actually be really good in the correct timing. Then the other grade 2 is Smiling Noble Kaoru Seta, and her ability is Auto Rigor Circle. When it attacks, if a Hello Happy World music was played this turn, cost Soul Blast 1, and until the end of the battle, your opponent must intercept if possible. And at the end of the battle, return this unit to your hand. So for a Soul Blast, you open a spot onto the field so your opponent cannot retire it or damage deny you. But not only that, you can basically remove all the grade 2s onto the field from your opponent's side, or maybe even their back row units. So if you're up against Altman, for example, you can basically remove the entire field for only one Soul Blast. That's actually really good. Yes, this attack will probably block, but you can also just attack without boosting, so it's just a 10k that removes all the grade 2s and all the other potential interceptors. So this can be a really powerful card in the right circumstances. But her bounce effect is even better, but you will understand that a couple of cards later down the road. Now from the grade 2s we go to the grade 1s, and we have Forward Looking Smile Cannon Matsurbara, and her ability is Auto Rigor Circle. At the end of the battle it boosted if a Hello Happy World music was played this turn, cost return this unit to your hand and should charge 1. So this basically can also open up a spot onto the field, and it soul charges. So this card has the same condition as the previous grade 2, only the previous grade 2 Soul Blast 1, this card will Soul Charge 1. So these two cards work perfectly together in synchronized harmony, so you can keep reusing their abilities turn after turn after turn, which is actually pretty good, and that's what you really want to do in this deck. Then for the other grade 1, we have Delivering Smiles DJ Michelle, and its ability is Auto Rigor Circle. At the end of the battle, a Hello Happy World on your rearguard circle attacked, costs Soul Blast 1, return that unit to your hand. So this can basically keep reopening the front row, which is actually pretty nice as long as you have the soul to facilitate for that. Then the second ability, and this is actually quite odd here, is Act on Rearguard Circle. If an order was not played this turn, cause +1, search a deck or drop zone for up to 1 Hello Happy World music with grade equal to or less than your Vanguard and play it. And if you search a deck, shuffle your deck. This is a skill that's usually on the main grade 3 unit, but now it's on a grade 1 rearguard. And this is actually really good because this means if you have this card in your opening hand, you have access to that ability from turn 1. But of course, turn 1 you cannot utilize it as it costs a counterblast, but you understand what I'm referring to. So this can actually help you quite a lot if you can open up this card, so that's a pretty solid thing. But as you're going to see with the grade 3, this is actually an extender of the grade 3, so the grade 3 also has this ability, although it's via some other paths. Because the grade 3 is on stage Kokoro Tsurumaki, and her abilities are Auto Vanguard Circle. When placed, search your deck or drop zone for up to 1 card with Michelle in its card name, call to the Rearguard Circle, and if you search your deck, shuffle your deck. So this is basically what I meant. You search up the grade 1 once you've written the grade 3, so you always have access to that actability that then can search out the order card. So this basically is also saying that that ability is on this grade 3. Only on top of that, you get a +1 for free that also helps you keep clearing your front row circles, which you want to do in this deck, because of Tsurumaki's second ability. As her second ability is Auto Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, if a Hello Happy World music was played this turn, you may call a card from your hand to the Rearguard Circle. So on attack, you can call another card to the field. Now, if you put everything together, then you can see what this deck is trying to do. Because we have the grade 1 and the grade 2 that can bounce themselves back after they attacked, so you open up the field. Then you have Michelle that can just bounce any attacker back, so you can open up both front row circles. So you can open up both your front row circles and 1 back row circle. Now, if this unit then attacks, you can call down another unit. You can potentially call down the grade 2 of the right chain, so the grade 2 Kokoro Tsurumaki. When she is placed, you can call another card from your hand. If you have another Kokoro Tsurumaki, you can call it, and then when placed, you can call another card, so you can call booster behind. And you'll always have a booster because you just bounce back that booster. But then what you also can do, you have access to potentially the grade 2 that gets additional 10k power when she's called, so you can have a 20k beater on her own. So this way you can basically try to mismatch your attack pattern and try to set everything up. And this is also how you can abuse the grade 2 that force your opponent to intercept away, because you can just attack with it and not use the booster, remove all the interceptors, and then bounce it back, and then later call down another unit in front of the boosting unit that's still standing, and then you use the entire column to do your thing. So there are a lot of options here. So that means we have multi-tech potential in a Force clan. So that's actually pretty solid. But it doesn't stop here, because these are just the units. Now let's take a look at the music order cards, and then we can see where the full power potential of this band lies. So the first music order card that we're going to look at is the grade 1, which is Egano no Orchestra. And its ability is Auto Rearguard Circle when placed. If your Vanguard is Hello Happy World, look at the 2 cards from the top of your deck, put up to 1 card from among them into your hand, and put the rest into your soul. So this is a +1 in hand and a +1 in soul for free. That's really good because you need your pieces, you want hand, but you also need soul because of Michelle that will probably use a lot of soul if you want to keep opening up your front row circles. Now the grade 2 order card is Sekai Nobi Nobi Treasure, and its abilities are Continuous Rearguard Circle. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 2 or greater, all of your front row units get power plus 5k. So because this is a continuous ability, that means if you start multi-attacking with your grade 3, then all those units will get an additional 5k power, so it's easier to just overcome defensive triggers and to apply a lot of pressure. This is a really good skill in combination with the multi-tech potential. But it also has a second ability, which Auto Rearguard Circle. Once per turn, when your Hello Happy World's attack hits, you may draw a card and soul charge 1. So whenever one of your units' attacks hit, you get to draw and soul charge for free. Albeit only once per turn, but still that is really good because you will attack at least 3 times, and if you combine this with the grade 3, you will attack potentially 4 to 5 times. One of those attacks most likely will hit, so you get the draw effect as well as the soldiers. And as we explained with the Grade 1 order, both those effects are really good because you need soul and you need cards in hand. So this is actually really good. Then for the Grade 3 music order card, and this is the big play card, we have Agao sing a song. And Agao ability is Auto Record Circle. When your Hello Happy World is placed during your battle phase, if your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, the place unit gets power plus 10k until the end of turn. So basically where the previous one gave plus 5k, this one will give those units plus 10k, albeit not the ones that are already present on the field, but the power is mainly important for your multi-attacking units. So this means those Grade 2s from the Grade 2 right chain, which I explained that you could superior call a new front row, those will not be 10k, those will be 20k on their own. So those are some solid numbers you're achieving. But you can also look at the Grade 2 that gain an additional 10k when just placed. That unit will be a 30k attack on its own mid-battle. Those are some actually solid numbers you're achieving for free. So that is looking really good. But then, this song has another ability, as it has Auto Record Circle. Once per turn, at the end of the battle, a Hello Happy World on your Vanguard Circle or Rearguard Circle attacked, cost, count them as 1, call a card from your hand to the Rearguard Circle. So now we have the Vanguard unit that can call a card from hand, and we now also have this order card that allows you to do that. So that means you can either use both those effects and call an entire front row that way, but you could do that even better, and you can clear your front row by bouncing them back. You can do that with Michelle, and you have the Grade 2 that can bounce itself back, and you have the Grade 1 that can bounce himself back. Then on attack with the Vanguard, you use the Vanguard's ability to call down the Grade 2 of the right chain, to call down another Grade 2, and you attack with both those units. You can use Michelle to bounce back those units to your hand, and then when you attack with the last Rearguard, you basically resolve the order card and then slam down another column so you can attack once more. So if you combine the Vanguard and this order card together, you can achieve 6 attacks, which basically costs you a counterblast and about 3 soul, which you can easily generate through the course of the game. So that can be really devastating. And don't forget, those multi-attacking units will come in with high numbers, and depending if you go for Force 1 or Force 2, you can even increase those numbers even higher, or they come with crits. So yeah, Hello Happy World is a band that is all around bouncing units and then multi-attacking. So this is basically the original Bermuda Triangle deck. And that concludes all the cards for Hello Happy World. So with those cards explained, let's take a look at the second band that was revealed, as we also got the card for A Suilen, the secret pack band. And of course they have a generic starter. As for them, that is legendary start A Suilen. This card isn't in the secret pack, this is just a common within the set, just like their triggers, so you don't have to pull the secret pack to get the starter. So let's take a look at the band members, and as you're gonna see, this band doesn't have a right chain, as it also doesn't have a right chain starter, so we are missing a Grade 1 and a Grade 2, unlike the other bands. So we might need to fill in the slot with either more quantities of the music order cards, which you probably will, as you're going to see what this band is trying to do, and maybe 1 or 2 cards of the other band members that are generic that can support this deck. So without further ado, let's take a look at the rest of the cards. And we're going to start off with the Grade 1, that is Strongest Music Choo Choo. And her abilities are Auto Record Circle. At the beginning of the battle phase, the original critical of all the power 30k or greater rises Suilens on your Vanguard Circle and Rearguard Circle becomes 2 until the end of turn. Only 30k or greater units at the beginning of the battle phase becomes 2. So this is basically confirming that this deck is going to generate a lot of power on the units, and you're going to play with Force 1 and not Force 2 because it turns the original critical into 2. And that means it conflicts with Force 2, so you're definitely going to play Force 1 for this particular band. Then her second ability is Act on Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. Cost rest this unit, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 2 Razor Suilen musics from among them, put them into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this can potentially be a +2 for free, as you need to rest it. This can actually be a really good turn 1 play, as you cannot attack. You can ride her, rest her, and potentially get +2 for free. So this is actually a pretty decent skill in general, and definitely a good skill if you can use her multiple times throughout the game, because you need those music order cards either in your hand or in a drop zone, as you're going to see in a moment here. Then for the grade 2, which harmonized with Choo Choo, is Infinite 7 Hues Parero, and her ability is Continuous Rearguard Circle. If you have a rearguard with Choo Choo in its card name, this unit gets power plus 5k. So this is one way to empower your front row units, as if you have the grade 1 on the field, this becomes a passive 15k attacker or unit. And her second ability facilitate this, as that is Auto and Vanguard the Rearguard Circle. When placed, look at the 7 cards from the top of your deck, reveal the 1 card with Choo Choo in its card name from among them, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So this is basically a Choo Choo searcher. So that's nice, as if you already have a Choo Choo in your hand, you can call it, rest it, potentially get the card, then use, and then with her you can potentially search as another one, so you can call on top of the Choo Choo to still have her standing Choo Choo if you want to be more aggressive. So this allows you to go fast through your deck, as you have a lot of searchers, and Choo Choo can keep drawing into those music order cards that you really need. Then for another grade 1, we have Mad Dog Wailing Masking, and its ability is Auto and Vanguard the Rearguard Circle. When placed, put 2 cards from the top of your deck into the drop zone, cast Soul Blast 1 and discard a card from your hand, and return a A Suilen from your drop zone to your hand. So this just mills cards, and then potentially can get a card back to your hand. This is great if you mill accidentally a specific card that you need, so you can maybe fix your right chain, as you can grab a grade 2 or grade 3, but you can also get a potential music order card that you milled and you need in your hand to be able to play that specific turn, as we're going to see in a second, because there are some things that this card allows you to do that is very important for this particular deck. Then the other grade 2 is Blossoming Talent Luck, and her abilities are Continuous Rearguard Circle. If a music was played this turn, this unit gets power plus 5k. So another way to empower units, as we need to do that to achieve the 30k status, so they all get a natural double critical. And her second ability is Act on Vanguard the Rearguard Circle. Once per turn, cast Soul Blast 1 and discard a card from your hand. And this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of turn. If a A Suilen was discarded for this cast, draw a card. So for Soul Blast and a minus, this unit gets another 5k, so it can potentially be a 20k attacker. That's very important. And then it can potentially draw that card back. 9 out of 10 times you're going to discard a A Suilen, and 9 out of 10 times that's going to be a music order card. So getting the draw card is pretty good, because you want to discard a A Suilen, so you get rewarded for something you actually want to do in the first place. So this is a pretty solid skill. Then for the grade 3 boss unit of this deck, we have Supreme Diva Layer, and her abilities are Continuous on Vanguard Circle. During your turn, if your drop zone has 5 or more musics, this unit gets power plus 15k. And this is somewhat what I meant with the fact that you want to discard your music order cards and fill the drop zone with those specific order cards, because you can then achieve this skill. But it's not only this skill, as we also have some other abilities that we're going to see in the order cards. So now you can understand why the searching for the order cards with the grade 1 for Choo Choo is pretty good, because you can then get them to your hand, play them, they will go into drop zone, or you can potentially discard them with the other grade 2 that then rewards you in drawing more cards, as you want to discard those order cards, which also are A Suilens. So it all comes basically together. And then the other card that mills the top 2 and then can potentially fetch a A Suilen is good in the fact that you are milling and throwing all your order cards to the drop zone, but by doing that you lower the chance of actually being able to play a A Suilen music card every single turn. So with them all the drop zone, you can at least get them back with the grade 1, as that's one of the only ways that you can do that within this specific band. Because the grade 3, as you see on the second ability, doesn't search for music order cards, as her second ability is Act on Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, cast Counter plus 1, draw a card, and one of your rearguards get power plus 10k until the end of turn. So as you see, it doesn't get you the order card. It does draw you, just like a bunch of other cards, so you start filtering and drawing a lot of cards within your deck, so you go fast through your deck and you can filter out those music order cards on a very high consistency sake. And the plus 10k is also pretty good, because as we just saw, we had the grade 2 that can turn itself into a 20k attacker, and with this 10k buff, turns it into a 30k unit, so it achieves the status of getting the double critical. And this Vanguard becomes a 28k unit, so it's very close, but not on the actual number, so we're still missing something. And we have the 15k other grade 2, so we are still missing some power, but the music order cards will help that no problem. And also don't forget, we have a force marker that can give a unit plus 10k. So either the Vanguard is immediately over the 30k threshold, or the side column becomes a 25k rearguard. So with that explained, let's take a look at the music order cards themselves to have an understanding of how we can achieve the full potential of this deck. And the first one is the Grade 1 order card Riot, and its ability is Auto Rearguard Circle. When placed, reveal 2 cards from the top of your deck, put all of the Raised Suilens from among them into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this can potentially be a +2 for free. It's on a lower consistency as the cards from the other bands, because as I explained, we run or have less Raised Suilen cards because we don't have the Grade 1 and the Grade 2 of the right chain. So that's 8 cards fewer than most other bands. So keep in mind that there's a higher chance of actually only hitting 1 or maybe 0 Raised Suilens in your top 2 cards. Then the Grade 3 order card is Expose Burn Out, and its ability is Auto Rearguard Circle. At the beginning of your battle phase, if your drop zone has 7 or more Raised Suilen musics, until the end of the turn, all of your front row units get power plus 10k, cost countable as 1, and all of your opponent's units cannot increase their power by trigger effects. So this card basically allows you to achieve the 30k power without any problem, because we already have the 20k rearguard, we have already the 28k Vanguard, and a 15k rearguard. With this order card active, they all, except for the 15k rearguard, achieve the 30k status, because the 20k becomes a 30k, the 28k Vanguard becomes a 38k Vanguard, and the 15k becomes 25. However, with the Vanguard's act ability, that becomes a 35, and we still have the force marker to add a 10k somewhere on the field. So you basically can achieve the double crit and a lot of power on your first Grade 3 turn as long as you're able to fill your drop zone with 7 order cards. So that might be the biggest problem here. There are a lot of filters and draws and discard abilities within the within this band itself, as you've seen with the other band members. But it's still maybe a bit tricky to actually achieve this on your first Grade 3 turn, but on your second Grade 3 turn is probably very much possible. And also the effect that the power increase of triggers won't activate on your opponent's side is nice, but I don't think it's all that important, because you're already swinging with a lot of power, and because you're swinging with double crit, your opponent most likely won't let any of this attack hit through, because there's a higher chance that they will just outright die if one of the attacks hit, because don't forget, you're running a bunch of crits as well, so getting 1 extra critical trigger in drive check might be the death sentence here. And these 2 order cards, as well as the 5 band members, except for the starter and the triggers, are found in the secret pack. And they also revealed that every single case of Bang Dream is gonna contain 4 secret packs, which means you need to buy an entire case being able to play this clan. And you might think to yourself, hold on a minute, this Grade 3 needs 7 music order cards in the drop zone in order to play it. But we only have 2 music order cards that are Raised Suilen, because it needs specifically Raised Suilen, so we cannot put order cards or music order cards from the other bands in the deck. And that is correct. So being able to use this skill is almost impossible by just playing the Grade 1 and the Grade 3 order card. However, there is a Grade 2 music order card for Raised Suilen. It exists, as that is Unstoppable. But Unstoppable is not in this set. Unstoppable is a special promo card. Where you can find a promo card, I have no clue. Will it be a box stopper? Maybe. Is it a special monthly Bushiroad magazine promo? Probably. Is it somewhat of a special campaign promo? Who knows? I have no clue how you're going to get this promo, but if you want to play Raised Suilen on an actual playable level, you need 4 secret packs, which you can find in 1 case, and you need to get at least a couple of copies of this special promo. Otherwise, you cannot play the deck on an actual level. And just by the fact that this is a Raised Suilen music order card to increase the consistency of the Grade 3 order card, this Grade 2 order card is also pretty good, as its effects are Auto Rearguard Circle, when placed, draw 2 cards, and discard 2 cards from your hand. This is really good if you can play it on Grade 2, because it helps with the consistency, and you can immediately drop down 2 order cards which you fetched out maybe with your Grade 1, because that searches multiple order cards. So this is a good way to just dump them all into the drop zone. Then the second ability is Continuous Rearguard Circle. If your drop zone has 5 or more musics, all of your front row gets power plus 5k. So this card helps you potentially achieve some of the additional power or some of the critical, because as I already explained, your Vanguard is 28, you have a rearguard that's 20 that can turn itself into a 30k unit with the 10k of the Vanguard, and you have a rearguard that's 50. If you put the force marker underneath that unit, that becomes 25, and with this 5k, that becomes exactly 30, and your Vanguard achieves 33. So by playing this grade 2 order card, you will always achieve the double critical on your grade 3 turn as long as you have 5 or more music order cards in your drop zone. This is a lot more doable than the grade 3 that needs 7 in the drop zone. So this is the reason why this grade 2 order card is pretty important to actually play the deck on a consistent level. And interesting enough, as soon as we have some spots open, we can play some generic cards from the other band members. And one card that actually works quite nicely with this deck is Always Natural Tai Hanazono, because of her first ability, as that's Auto Rigard Circle. When placed, cast discard a card from your hand and return a music from your drop zone to your hand. As I stated before, because you're dumping all your music order cards in the drop zone, it might be hard to actually play a music order card. So you want cards that allows you to fetch it back. So if you cannot use the grade 1 anymore because you already placed it onto the field, you have no copies in your hand, you can potentially also use this grade 2, which then helps you to get it to from the drop zone to your hand to be able to play it. And interesting enough, by pure chance, or Bushiroad actually planned this, apparently Taya Hanazono was an original band member of Rise A Suilen, and she actually works with the band. So yeah, that's really interesting. And that basically wraps up all the cards for the upcoming Bang Dream set that was revealed today. And that were quite a lot of cards, as we had 2 bands revealed. We had Hello Happy World, which is an interesting take on what Bermuda Triangle did in the GR with the bouncing and multi-attacking. And then we have Rise A Suilen, that's somewhat of a Grand Blue-esque playstyle that just wants to fill the drop zone, but in this case wants to fill it with specific cards to then up the power level of all your units and then give them criticals and potentially shut down trigger power so you can overwhelm your opponent with a lot of power. How good these decks are, I'm not so sure. The Rise A Suilen looks very interesting and has a lot of consistency potential because all of their units have Vanguard and a Rearguard Circle skill, so there is no bad right targets, which is actually pretty interesting if you think about it. But the problem is that they need a lot of setup to actually do their thing, and then the things that they achieve aren't really of the highest status. Yes, you swing in with high power and double crit on everything, but they're just high power, double crit, free attacks, and that's it. So your opponent can probably block or take 1 or 2 attacks, and you might have some hard times to actually close games on a consistent basis. Hello Happy World, on the other hand, looks to be a very powerful deck with all the multi-attack and bounce shenanigans, and as seen as all those units get additional power, and you have ways to just remove all the interceptors. And again, some decks that is just a death sentence. Like, no Altma player wants to see their entire field disappear because of a 10k grade 2 declared an attack. So yeah, that's a lot of interesting stuff, and with those reveals, there's only one more band to be revealed for Bang Dream, and that is Roselia, probably one of the most anticipated bands for Bang Dream in this particular set. And what they're gonna do is just a guessing game, but my guess is probably something on control, as we've seen a lot of things used or experimented with specific mechanics within all the bands, but something we haven't seen so far is control options. We haven't seen actual retire skills or things that remove the opponent's side of the field. And it's seen as some of the bands actually work on setting up a specific field. Roselia could be the counter band against those particular bands. But that's basically everything for me today. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the new cards for Hello Happy World as well as Rise A Suilen, and I'm curious of which of the 2 bands you're looking forward most to play. As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or everything that's happening on the channel, you can simply do that by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell button to be updated for future videos. And of course, you can go to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one.